Welcome to the Money Hour with Tina Mitchell. Tina Mitchell, MLO 145420, is a licensed loan originator with Gateway Mortgage Group, LLC. The views expressed by the speakers on the following program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views of Gateway Mortgage Group, LLC, nor are they necessarily endorsed by Gateway Mortgage Group, LLC. Now, in the studio, local mortgage and finance expert, Tina Mitchell.
Welcome to the Money Hour at 11:50 a.m. KKNW, the Saturday, June 24th show. I am your host and mortgage expert, Tina Mitchell. I bring in studio each week the best of the best experts in our local market on everything regarding your money. I'm here to help you in today's economy. If you're hearing my show at a different time or day, you are listening to a rebroadcast, but I'm here to answer any questions or connect you with the guests that I have on the show today. Please call the show at 1-855-400-1150. Again, that's 1-855-400-1150. Or online at themoneyhour.com. And the lineup for today's show, Shannon Affholter with Master Builder Association, Attaining Housing, the demand for housing for significantly outpaced residential housing supply is my conversation with Shannon today. Also in studio, I have Vivian Peterson with Windermere Real Estate Shoreline. Before purchasing a home, is it feng shui? It'll be a fun conversation with Vivian today. And last guest in studio, Scott Schaff with SW Growth, and we're talking about credit understanding credit and credit repair. Great information and great guest in studio today. For more information on any of the topics discussed or topics that you'd like to hear on future shows, please feel free to call the show at 1-855-400-1150. Again, that's 1-855-400-1150 or online at themoneyhour.com. And to start out today's show, as always, we'll have a little money chat.
Money.
I wanted to talk about the single close program, which is a permanent loan consisting of construction and permanent financing. Financing is available for ground up construction, major remodel projects, and teardowns. This is really a great opportunity with the challenge that we're having in the market right now. If you've got an opportunity to build your own home using a single close construction loan, or also rehab. So it's a really great opportunity if you own a home right now and there's just nothing available on the market for you, to be able to rehab and make your home new and make it your dream home. This is a great product to be able to do that. So it is for primary residents only, not for investors. 90% maximum loan to value. Again, it can be used for purchase, new construction, purchasing land and building your own home, rehab. It's for one unit properties. The construction term is for 12 months. It's interest only during the construction loan period, and then it'll turn into an actual full principal and interest mortgage. The maximum loan amount is conforming high balance. So in our area here, that would be $592,250 with minimum credit score of 680. Now, eligible property is, again, single family home. So ineligible is non-occupied properties. Cash out is not available for cash out, or owner builder specs are not available, or condos. So the loan to value calculation, so again, it goes up to 90%. It's the lesser of the acquisition cost or appraised value. And if the borrower is on the title of the lot, structure, and refinance, and the LTV is based on the site value from the appraisal and the cost of the construction or appraised value, whichever is less. So if the borrower purchases a lot, the structure as purchased and the LTV based is on the lot price and the cost of contract or the appraised value, whichever is less. Now, the steps for the construction loan, first is the credit application process. So this is going to be for the borrower on the loan. So they're going to go through that process, and you can actually do at the same time the builder acceptance as well. So they're going to go through an approval process, paper documents that they're going to have to complete and provide for the lender. So you can kind of go through that process at the same time. And you're going through credit approval, just like you would for a standard process. You're going through credit approval for you as the borrower, as well as the approval again for the builder. Now, step 4 is going to be the collateral approval. So collateral on the property. Underwriting for the construction loan goes through the construction lending process. Step 5 is your prior to closing. So conference calls occur between the construction department and the builder, as well as the buyer or the borrower on the loan are all involved in those conference calls. The next step is the loan closing. So the loans close prior to the construction. And step 7 is the construction phase. So once the loan is funded, as the house is getting built through, the construction draws are made to the builder. Interest-only payments are made by the borrower during that time. And then the last is your permanent phase. So the permanent phase is once the loan, it's going to reclose to a fully amortized first mortgage. Permanent housing payment begins. So those are the steps through the process. Now, the loan cannot be increased after closing because the loan is closed and is a final amount. So the borrower must pay for any of the change orders. This can be done, but the lender must be notified of any of those change orders in excess of 5% of the loan amount. Contingency reserve may be established to cover costs such as this, because a lot of times you can see that happen. Now, the inspections are performed by third-party approved inspectors with the mortgage lender. The original appraisal is always requested to perform the final inspection once the home is completed. The borrower cannot act as his own contractor. Majority of the time, they're going to want to have an actual builder, and again, going through that process. You're going to collect, typically there's 7 draws for the inspection, so you can take as many or as few as you want on these. If you take more than 7, then there's charges for the additional inspections when the construction is completed. And if you take less, the inspection fees that were collected are credited back to you. The builder decides on the phases for the draw, so dedicated to the disbursement scheduled for the builder has to follow as long as it is reasonable. And if the builder cannot complete the project in 12 months, because again, the construction period is for a 12-month period, you have the ability to extend the loan to allow for more time, but the fee is going to be assessed at that time, so it can get a little spendy if you go past that. So you want to make sure that things are staying online and on time for those construction processes. So just a little bit about a construction loan. There's a lot that goes into it, but it really is a great opportunity. And I really wanted to talk to people that are currently own homes right now and are having challenges finding the home that they want. They're concerned about selling and being able to find another home, that there is an alternative in using a construction loan outside of your standard refinance or the standard rehab loan. This is just a little bit different than that. So any more information, please feel free to call the show at 1-855-400-1150. Again, that's 1-855-400-1150. And coming up next in the Money Hour, Attainable Housing, the demand of housing for significantly outpaced residential housing supply. Shannon Affholter with Master Builder Association right here in 1150 AM KKNW after the short break.
Vivian Peterson is your local real estate professional with Windermere Shoreline. Over the past 30 years, Seattle has flourished into a booming metropolitan city, and Vivian has had the pleasure to experience it all. She is always looking forward to helping new families and friends with their next move. Find her online at vivianpeterson.com.
Hi, I'm Vivian Peterson. Give me a call at 206-818-8020 or email me at vpeterson@windermere.com.
Are you a woman in business or a brand that wants to help them figure out how to take their business to the next level? Do you have questions about how to effectively and safely use social media to build your brand and business? Are you ready to live your purpose out loud every single day, but not sure how to make it happen? Are you looking to start a thriving business, uncover new ideal clients, or find your dream job? Have you been trying to put your brand story together, but keep getting stuck? Deborah Trapin of D11 Consulting is a well-respected expert who speaks, writes, and consults on the topics of personal brand, digital marketing strategies, and living a fired-up life. Deborah Trapin of D11 Consulting helps entrepreneurs build businesses and lives they love by attracting ideal clients with a solid brand message and simple digital marketing strategies. Deborah Trapin of D11 Consulting is passionate about inspiring entrepreneurs to define their personal brand to build a business and life they love. Deborah Trapin of D11 Consulting is excited to help you get fired up and on your way to building a successful business and life.
This is Deborah Trapin of D11 Consulting. To learn more about my firm, connect with me on social media, or sign up for a free consultation, please visit my website, d11consulting.com. Be sure to sign up to Fire Up on my email list, and you will receive a free core values exercise to get you started defining your personal brand and building a life you love. If you prefer email, send me a note at deborah@d11consulting.com. Again, to learn more about my services, connect with me on social, or sign up to Fire Up, visit d11consulting.com. I look forward to connecting with you soon.
You're listening to The Money Hour with your host, Tina Mitchell, on Alternative Talk, AM 1150. Now, back to the show with local mortgage and finance expert, Tina Mitchell.
Welcome back to the Money Hour with your host and mortgage expert Tina Mitchell on 1150 AM KKNW, the Saturday, June 24th show. Each week, I share expert advice and inside knowledge on today's economy and how it affects our money and what's happening in the local economy. If you're hearing my show at a different time or day, you are listening to a rebroadcast, but I'm here to answer any questions and connect you with the guests that I have in studio. Please call at 1-855-400-1150. Again, that's 1-855-400-1150. or online at themoneyhour.com. And right now in studio, I have Shannon Affholter with Master Builder Associations. We're going to be talking about attaining housing. The demand for housing has significantly outpaced residential housing supply. Shannon, thank you so much. First time in studio.
It's great to be here, Tina. Thank you for inviting me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, and a little bit about Shannon. Shannon is the executive director of Master Builder Associations in King and Snohomish counties, the largest and oldest local home builder association in the nation. Previously, he has the Vice President of Business and Economic Development of Economic Alliance Snohomish County. While there, he advanced strategic growth plans, advocated on behalf of business, and fostered economic development in the region. He also has elected to serve 2 terms on the Everett City Council. Prior to his tenure at Economic Alliance Snohomish County, Affholter was a business development executive at the regional accounting firm of Moss Adams and an account executive with Merck. He holds an MBA for Western Washington University and a Bachelor's of Business Administration for Pacific Lutheran University. And it'll be a great conversation a little bit about what's happening in the housing market.
Right.
So for all of my buyers out there looking at purchasing properties and for sellers to see what's happening in the demand. So let's talk first about Master Builders Association. Tell my listeners a little bit about the organization.
Well, you mentioned a little bit just earlier. We're the largest and oldest local home builders association in the country. We have just a little bit over 2,800 member companies. And most people probably know of the MBA through a lot of the advocacy work that we do within the region. We do a tremendous amount of work dealing with policies in regards to the residential building industry at the local level, at the county level, and obviously at the state level. We also provide some great products for our members. We have one of the largest health insurance trusts. We insure about 34,000 individual lives through our health insurance. Through Regents. We also do a lot of L&I claims management through our retro program. Individuals can buy gasoline through us. So we have a lot of different products that people can utilize. We do a lot of educational classes for our members. We just have a real strong presence in the Puget Sound, and it's a great organization with great members.
Yeah, and it's really great for the business professionals to be able to come together and really learn from each other, have those resources. It's great for consumers because it's a resource to find experts, the best of the best in the industry and what they're doing. So, yeah, I've been a part of Master Builder Association, MBA, for quite a while. So, great organization.
Yeah, just the networking and the relationships that you build with other professionals is, really helps people grow their businesses. So that's another key component of the association as well.
Yes. So let's get into home ownership. And do you feel that owning a home is still part of the American dream? Yeah,
I really do. I think, if you look at the data, the millennials, 2/3 of the millennials, really want to buy a home someday. The unfortunate thing here in the Puget Sound, 78% of them just can't afford a home in this area. As we all know, the prices of home are escalating, and it's just tough for people to buy that first home for them. But I believe the American dream is still out there. It's just how can we help them afford it?
So when you're talking about the millennials having to wait because of the home prices rising, isn't it a good thing that the home prices are increasing?
Well, it's both good and bad. I mean, it's good if you're going to sell, but the challenge is if you're going to sell it but still try to buy in the local market, it's tough because there's just not a lot of supply out there. The prices are escalating and they're high. If you're going to sell your home and leave the market, I think that's a positive. But if you're going to try to sell your home and try to buy another home, it's very challenging right now.
Yeah, and I know we were talking earlier before coming into the studio of really seeing a time when the inventory shortage is that we're going to have a solution here, and it's just hard to see that with all of the the people coming into our area for the employment. We were talking about the difference in our price here in our market versus the Bay Area, and we've heard for a while that we're the next Bay Area, and it seems that we are.
Well, we're
heading in that direction.
Yeah, we're heading in that direction. We might not be there yet, but we're just the law of economics with supply and demand. The demand is so high for people that want to buy homes, but the supply is extremely low right now. And we're kind of we're blessed and cursed at the same time. We have a great region to live in, just with the environment that we get to enjoy. We have great companies to work for and good paying jobs. So it's a very attractive place to be. But at the same time, you have a low supply of homes for people to buy. So with the demand high and the supply low, there goes your prices. Yeah.
So let's talk about the housing crisis and other reasons behind that.
Right. Well, I think a few other reasons, not just because of the demand is high and supply is low. I think, one of the things that's challenging for our area is just a lack of buildable lands. That's one area that's real tough because of the Growth Management Act that came into effect in the early 1990s. Most people may or may not realize that there's certain urban growth boundaries where only growth can take place, which is a good thing because it's helped to minimize some of the sprawl that we want to try to minimize here in our region. But at the same time, you have a lack of buildable lands now because of all the building that's been taking place over the last few decades. So that's one. The other thing is just the regulatory costs that take place for builders. I mean, there are just more and more costs being placed upon builders, and because of the cost, that cost is being transferred to the purchasers. Mm-hmm. So you have that, and the other challenge you have is you have the mentality of no density or no growth in my own backyard, which in a way does put extra cost upon the end product, because if you're a builder and you're going to build something and you have to fight those legal fights, again, those are going to be extra costs that are placed upon the end user or the purchaser of that home. So you have a variety of issues that's taking place, not just because we have a lack of supply, but a lack of buildable lands. And it's just hard to find land out there to buy. To build upon. Exactly. And I went to the Master Build Association to really find the top builders in the area. Right. I do a lot of education for my real estate professionals, and I had a builder panel that came in and learned so much of what's happening. And it was a challenging educational piece to hear all of the challenges that they're having. Also, I had Randy Banneker come in, and so growth management. I mentioned Randy because of the Growth Management Act, and he did put some positive and not so positive spins on that. But what are the chances of getting some changes there? How do you feel about that? Well, again, I think there's some great things that the Growth Management Act has done, obviously, but there's some challenges, that came into place, as I said, in the early 1990s. And I think right now, what we're asking is just a time to review it. Yes. I think it's just a time. It's due time. It's due time just to review what's working and what's not working. Not a total changeover, but I think our ask to our local county governments and the government and down in Olympia is just a time to review what's taking place and really do an analysis on is there any areas that we can improve upon with the Growth Management Act. And I don't know what those are here today. But it really hasn't had a whole other show. It really, and it hasn't had a real deep dive review, and that's what we're asking for. Yeah. So a little bit more about in the Northwest and other reasons for the value increasing. What are you seeing? Well, I think the other value, which I mentioned earlier, is just the good paying jobs that we have in this area with the high tech industry, the manufacturing industry, the aerospace industry. You just have a lot of people who want to move here, who are obviously being paid very well, so they have the income to pay higher prices. So I think that's one of the areas what's causing the increase in of prices of home as well. And we talked about it earlier with Silicon Valley, with all the California payroll taxes, and so they're bringing in their satellite
company, satellites to their companies
Right.
here. So it's just the employment is crazy and the growth that we're seeing there. So what about the cities that are seeing the highest growth, Shannon?
Well, obviously Seattle,
Yes.
Everett, Bellevue, Federal Way, Renton, Sammamish, Lake Stevens, Marysville. Pretty much the whole Puget Sound area is growing like crazy.
All of our markets.
Yeah, so
yeah.
I think if you just take any city into Puget Sound, you're going to see a tremendous growth right now.
And what's your thought on Tacoma? Because I hear there's going to be some great things, appreciation happening in Tacoma here, and not too far.
Well, I think you're going to see a lot of good growth in Tacoma and Everett. I think what's taking place is as prices continue to escalate in King County, to afford a home, people are going to have to move further and further away.
Yes.
And so I think that's an advantage to Tacoma and for Everett to take advantage of those individuals who want to move there because they can afford a home there. The challenge is then you can have more people on the roads.
Yeah.
And I mean, traffic continues to be a huge issue. I live in Everett and drive to Bellevue every single day. And probably in my 4 years at the MBA, you can definitely see traffic continue to increase and become more challenging every year. So I do think Tacoma has a lot of upside. Tacoma is doing some great things with their downtown and with the area there. And the same thing with Everett. I think those cities have an opportunity to take advantage of it if they want to.
Yeah, and there's a lot of great things going on right now in Bothell.
Yeah,
lots of growth in there,
especially with their downtown area. And Bellevue's doing a great job. So I think with those other cities and because of the people willing to look at other cities because they may be a little bit more affordable than the city of Seattle, which, right now the city of Seattle, their average single home right now is a little bit over $700,000. For Snohomish County, it's a little bit over $400,000. For all of King County, it's a little bit over $600,000. So, for that first home buyer or that middle income family, they're getting priced out of Seattle pretty quickly. And
the scary thing is they're getting priced out of rent as well. I mean, the rent prices. That's again another whole show on what's happening with rent prices. So we talked about the Growth Management Act, a little bit, but if we've got a listener that's just asking the question, why can't we just build more homes?
I wish we could do that. It takes time to build home. I think a couple things people don't realize. From the time you purchase land, if you can find land to purchase, it's a couple year process. One to find the land right now. Finding land is not easy to do. To go through the permitting process and to get the entitlements and the permits through the city, that takes time now. Obviously, some cities are easier to work with than others. And then actually go in and build a house. And again, unfortunately, you have some municipals or some cities, where it's tough to build because you constantly may be battling, the local neighborhood group who puts up a legal battle, or you have the neighborhood groups who aren't necessarily in favor of that development that's taking place. Yeah. So it takes time. And the other thing most people don't realize, with over 2,800 member companies, 85% of our members are 10 employees or less. And I think there's this image that home builders are these large corporations who are coming into the area and kind of taking over the world. And it's not the case. The majority of the builders are just small, family-owned businesses who do great work, who want to be a good neighbor and provide great benefits to the community. And, they don't have all this extra resources to go into a neighborhood if they have to constantly fight the local neighbors. So it takes time to go in and build a house within the cities that we live and work in. Yeah.
Well, I'm in Newcastle. My husband's actually running for Newcastle councilman.
Hey.
And he doesn't want to see the growth. I do, but hey, I shouldn't say that on out loud that I'm not have all the same beliefs as my husband does. But so there's a lot of that going on in Newcastle. But so let's talk about solutions. Do you see, Shannon, solutions of making homes more affordable for everyone?
Well, I think it's not going to, there's no silver bullet, and we're not going to figure that out today. I think, over time, I think one thing the conversation is taking place more. I know down in Olympia and the governor and the elected officials, it's more part of the conversation of, what do we need to do with Growth Management Act and the urban growth boundaries. So I don't think the answers are there yet, but at least it's a part of the conversation where they know there's an issue. I think your local officials, both at the city level and at the county level, also understand that. So I think, part of the solution is our elected officials taking this issue on seriously.
Yes.
I mean, with the homeless issue, affordable housing issue, I think, sometimes we'll have an issue, but our elected officials aren't necessarily willing yet to discuss it and try to find some answers. But I believe because of how you see it in the paper almost every week, they're fully aware of the problem that we have. So I think that's one, just making sure we get them to the table and have those conversations. I think the second thing is helping people understand all the extra things that are placed upon the cost of housing, lack of buildable lands. That's a big issue. And with the urban growth boundaries, there's good, but there's some consequences to that because you have, as I said, less and less land to build upon. So that land's getting more and more expensive, and that just gets transferred to the end user. So I think we need to figure out, how we're going to, accommodate all this growth that's coming.
Yeah.
People may not want growth, but it's coming.
But it's coming. Yeah, no option there.
There's no option there. So I think that, and then also the other part is just the regulatory costs. I think, we all want to be good to the environment and make sure that we have a place that we love to live in. And that's one of the reasons why people are so attracted to it. It's one of the best places to live in the world.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we have to try to find what's balanceable, make sure, it's fair and balanced in regards to the regulatory costs that we place upon the building that's being done as well. So, between the, how we're going to handle the Growth Management Act, what are we going to do with regulatory costs, how are we going to approach affordable housing and make sure that elected officials are trying to find that balance between building and not building. I don't have an answer. I don't have an answer for you.
Dang it! I was hoping I'd bring you in here, Shannon. You'd have all the solutions and all the answers.
Well, if I did, I don't know where I'd be, but I'm probably not right here.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think we'll find the answers.
Yeah.
I mean, people are doing great work out there.
Yeah.
And I think people understand the issues that we have, both in the Democratic Party and in the Republican Party. We have good people who have a big concern and are trying to do good work.
Yeah.
And I believe in the next few years we'll continue to find that answer.
Well said. I got to wrap up my time here, but I want to give a call to action. So what would you tell my listeners if there's something that they can do to help?
Well, I think the big thing is just get involved with your local officials and with the planning that they're doing. Every city is going through a lot of planning right now. And when you see there's a notice about wanting to invite members or neighbors to come and have a discussion about growth, go and share your feelings. That's important.
Perfect. Well, thank you. Shannon, thanks for coming into studio. Really appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thanks.
Coming up next on the Money Hour, before purchasing a home, is it feng shui? Having a conversation with Vivian Peterson with Windermere Real Estate Shoreline right here on 1150 AM KKNW after this short break.
Is bad credit holding you back from getting a loan? The credit experts at SW Group can help you get back on the right track. Their team of experts has helped hundreds of people across the country fix their credit and get approved for the home of their dreams. Take charge of your financial future today. Call Scott Schaff at 954-531-2153. Again, that's Scott Schaff at 954-531-2153. Vivian Peterson is your local real estate professional with Windermere Shoreline. Over the past 30 years, Seattle has flourished into a booming metropolitan city, and Vivian has had the pleasure to experience it all. She is always looking forward to helping new families and friends with their next move. Find her online at vivianpeterson.com.
Hi, I'm Vivian Peterson. Give me a call at 206-818-8020 or email me at vpeterson@windermere.com.
You're listening to The Money Hour with your host, Tina Mitchell, on Alternative Talk, AM 1150. Now, back to the show with local mortgage and finance expert, Tina Mitchell.
Welcome back to the Money Hour with your host and mortgage expert Tina Mitchell right here at 1150 AM KKNW, the Saturday, June 24th show. I'm dedicated to my listeners, providing you with the tools needed to make informed decisions on all matters regarding your money. If you're here on my show at a different time or day, you are listening to a rebroadcast. To talk with the guests that I have in studio, you can call the show at 1-855-400-1150. Again, that's 1-855-400-1150 or online at themoneyhour.com. In studio right now, Vivian Peterson with Windermere Real Estate Shoreline. Before purchasing a home, is it feng shui? We're going to talk about feng shui, what that is, and how to recognize a home that meets those requirements. Vivian, thank you so much for coming back in studio. Very excited for our conversation today.
Thanks for inviting me again.
And a little bit about Vivian. Prior to joining the world of real estate, Vivian was a successful entrepreneur and restaurant owner. She has become an expert in providing clients with what they want and need in their next new home. She enjoys spending time with her daughter, exploring the outdoors, boating on the Puget Sound, and has a passion for cooking. As a Seattle native, Vivian has extensive knowledge of the different cities and neighborhoods across the region. She serves King and Snohomish County, specializing in homes buying and selling first-time home buyers, relocation, and luxury homes. So talking about feng shui, what that means, and how to recognize if your home is feng shui. First, what is feng shui?
Well, Tina, this is a simple question that can be quite difficult to answer. But basically, it's an ancient art and science that developed in China over 3,000 years ago. And it teaches us how to balance the energies in any given space, whether that's your home, office, or your garden. Feng means wind, and shui means water. And in the Chinese culture, wind and water are associated with good health. And so feng shui came to mean good fortune. Mm-hmm. And good fortune comes in many ways, such as better health, successful career, fulfilling love life, just any, and it provides detailed tips for almost any area of your life.
That sounds beautiful. And I, just being in a great space to help everything in your life is important. And I totally believe in feng shui. Don't have a big knowledge on it, so that's why I was excited about our conversation. But I know you talk about 5 important things to look to ensure that your home does have good feng shui. What are those?
Number 1, location, neighborhood, and placement. 2, a strong front door. 3, a front door, back door, and all the doors in the house. They've got to function properly, and they don't squeak and they need to be nice. And also avoid a home with a direct door alignment. 4, the main entrance and entryway, and 5, the room positioning, like where the kitchen is, the bedrooms, bathrooms, like the entire floor plan.
So let's talk about the front door. What is so important about the front door?
Well, the front door is very important feng shui, no matter if we are speaking of the front door of your home or the front door of your business. It has to have an unobstructed flow of energy, and that when you open the front door, all the good energy, you want all the good energy to come into your home, right? And opportunities. And so around your front door, it should be kept clean and fresh. A meandering path with beautiful plants or even a water feature will bring in good fortune to the occupants of the home.
Now, I've heard with feng shui in your office that it's not good for you to be sitting with your back towards the door. Is that correct?
Correct.
Yeah, that would make sense that it would be, blocking the good energy to come in maybe?
Right, but there's always a cure. If there's no other way that you can move your desk.
Okay.
You could put a little mirror off to the side so that you could look behind you.
Got it.
So feng shui also offers little cures when you're unable to really change something around.
And especially in this market when there's only so much inventory out there, when you find a house, it'd be nice to be able to make it feng shui when it's the only option that's available. So I'm assuming that you believe in feng shui, and is everything set up for you that way as well?
I try my best. Personally, I have feng shuied out my office and my home, and it's not like my life is perfect or anything, but when I come home, I feel relaxed and peaceful, and I have a nice environment.
Well, I know that you're a relaxed and peaceful person, and you have a successful business and successful life. So it sounds like it's working for you, Vivian. So how do you apply it when your clients, whether you're selling their home or that they're purchasing, how are you applying your expertise in this area? Do you talk about it with all your clients, or only clients that you find that are interested in feng shui?
Well, it depends. Some people are strictly black and white, focused on getting a home, and they're not into, the design, or they want to just flip it or change it around or invest in it. So with those people, and it depends on how spiritual a person is or how open-minded they are. You got to feel them out. But for most of my clients, they do want a home that has good feng shui. It has a nice floor plan. So the very first thing I do with them is I look at the front door and the main entrance, all the doors and windows, the bedroom location and design, the kitchen design and placement, the staircase design and placement, bathrooms, laundry rooms, closets, storage. And I think it's really important to hire a realtor that understands feng shui principles, because sometimes there are easy solutions and they don't need a lot of money to fix. And also to recognize certain homes that are really not good feng shui, such as split level homes.
Well, I think with all the certain cultures that have a lot more that are into feng shui, it's important as far as resale as well, because we have so many and diversity of people that are coming in and buying homes. I know back in 2004 when I purchased my home, Vivian, we actually had an Asian gal that knocked on my door and was willing to pay us almost anything, not anything, but more than what the home was worth. And we had just bought it because she said it had such good feng shui, and I thought that's crazy. But anyways, lighting, is lighting important when it comes to feng shui?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, to make sure that you have good light. I would imagine light would have a lot to do with the energy.
Yeah, also where you place the placement of your lighting as well.
Okay.
Some corners, some areas might need brighter light. Light is fire. So make sure that that's the element of that corner.
Okay.
In feng shui, there's a tool that they use. It's called the bagua, and that has the 9 elements of your life.
Okay.
And so you put it over your floor plan. As you enter, that's your career. Off to the right is your helpful people, like your clients and your traveling. As you go up to the right in the middle, that is your creativity, your children. Off to the right at the very end, that's your love life.
Okay.
And then when you're looking at the house, and then when you're entering and in the middle of the house, that's your health. Off to the end is your fame and fortune. To the left is your prosperity. Then it's your family, and then it's your knowledge.
So if I'm hearing that correctly, fame and fortune, you'd probably want your office space around there. Your love life, that's where you'd want your master bedroom, right?
Right.
Yeah. Now, in the office, I know is certain places that you're supposed to put, and probably just what you were saying there as well, where you're going to put your awards versus where you're going to hang your awards versus hanging your family photos.
Well, I think a nice placement for an office would be on your helpful people, off to the right. So as you enter your home, off to the right, I think that's the best place for an office.
Yes. Okay. So do you have any enhancements that it's had for your clients and their lives?
Yes, actually, one of my clients, their marriage improved when I found them a home that did not have the love life cut off.
Okay.
And they had a more intimate bedroom setting. And another one of my clients has gotten a promotion, better health, fertility with another one. They were able to conceive.
Yeah.
And just a more balanced lifestyle.
That's great. So what about staging? When you're listing a home for a seller, do you bring feng shui into the staging to help the home be more appealing and maybe get more offers? Well, I guess we don't have a challenge with offers, but getting more higher price for those homes.
Oh, absolutely. Your home will sell for a lot more money when you apply feng shui.
So, Vivian, we understand that a lot of homes in Seattle may not be built with the feng shui principles and the layout. You talked about split-level homes. And again, it would take out the market of possibly of those people that are really feng shui is a big part of their lives. So what other easy solutions is there a solution for a split home? If you've got a split home, is there a way to help make that more feng shui?
Well, they say if you place a crystal chandelier between the door and the stairway, that can hold the energy there and disperse it.
Okay.
The whole thing about split levels is that it goes up and down the stairs and it goes out the door. So whatever and there isn't like a main entryway.
Okay.
It's kind of, it goes really quick.
It's split. It's splitting up that dynamic.
Mm-hmm. You want to be able to walk into your front door and have an entryway and place some pretty flowers or something that invites you in, and then look at your living room or look at something really pretty.
Okay.
So, there's different cures that you can do. A lot of homes in Seattle that I go walk through don't have good feng shui, but you can tear down a wall, you can move them around, you can fix it. You can do little things that are really, really important. But the most important thing to do is to look at your front main door.
All right. So if we're talking about condos and apartments, a little bit different than, having a grand entry with your home with, a staircase that's welcoming. So how is it different with condos or apartments?
You want to place the bagua over your layout. So it's really easy. And then you want to put you want to design it accordingly to that. And pretty much it's common sense, like where you should put a plant or, what area, what to do for the bedroom. I think bedrooms should be comfortable, romantic. There should always be a set of 2 drawers there, even if you're single, just keeping it really intimate.
Okay.
So and then you should look outside of the area of the condo unit and make sure that it's kept up, it's clean, it has some it's inviting, it has beautiful plants. So, very easy to do with both apartment and condo. And I kind of think it's common sense. I mean, if you walk into a home and you don't feel good, like there's something negative there, then that's your first clue that something's not right.
Got it. Or if you're not feeling that inviting energy, because I know if we've all walked into places where it just doesn't feel inviting, it feels closed in, and makes sense. Yeah. Well, Vivian, thank you so much for talking a little bit about feng shui. And where would my listeners get more resources? I'd imagine online there's plenty of resources, but you ever hire a feng shui expert to come in and help you if you really want to dial in deep with that?
Oh, yeah. There's plenty of feng shui experts and lots of information online.
Yeah.
Yeah, and good books.
Perfect. Vivian, thank you so much for coming back in studio. Look forward to having you back again.
Thank you, Tina.
You're welcome. Coming up next to the Money Hour, credit understanding and credit repair with Scott Schaff with SW Group right here at 1150 AM KKNW after this short break.
Vivian Peterson is your local real estate professional with Windermere Shoreline. Over the past 30 years, Seattle has flourished into a booming metropolitan city, and Vivian has had the pleasure to experience it all. She is always looking forward to helping new families and friends with their next move. Find her online at vivianpeterson.com.
Hi, I'm Vivian Peterson. Give me a call at 206-818-8020 or email me at vpeterson@windermere.com.
Is bad credit holding you back from getting a loan? The credit experts at SW Group can help you get back on the right track. Their team of experts has helped hundreds of people across the country fix their credit and get approved for the home of their dreams. Take charge of your financial future today. Call Scott Schaff at 954-531-2153. Again, that's Scott Schaff at 954-531-2153.
You're listening to The Money Hour with your host, Tina Mitchell, on Alternative Talk, AM 1150. Now, back to the show with local mortgage and finance expert, Tina Mitchell.
Well, welcome back to The Money Hour with your host and mortgage expert, Tina Mitchell, right here on 1150 AM KKNW, the Saturday, June 24th show. I've built a network of elite industry professionals each week sharing their knowledge and expertise for my listeners. If you're hearing my show at a different time or day, you are listening to a rebroadcast. You can call the show at 1-855-400-1150 or go online at moneyhour.com to discuss anything regarding money or chat with the guests that I have in studio today. And in studio right now, Scott Schaff with SW Group and talking on understanding credit and credit repair. Scott, thank you so much for joining me again.
Always great to be back, Tina.
So let's go ahead and start out the show with enhancement standards. I know that there's some enhancement standards going on with implemented in July 1st regarding judgments. Can you talk a little bit about that, Scott?
Yes, absolutely. And this is something that's brand new to the credit industry that a lot of people are not aware of. It's effective July 1st, and they're going to start implementing it July 10th. And what it is it's the standardization of public records. So they're basically enhancing their standards on what public records can be provided on the credit report. So we're going to see a lot of people have a lot of judgments, and about half the tax liens fall off their credit reports because they don't meet the enhanced standards. There's been so many errors. What the CRAs, credit repair agencies, are trying to do is they're trying to step up their game and provide more accurate data. But it's going to be a great overhaul. The bankruptcies are going to pretty much meet the standard, but we're going to see a lot of judgments fall off, and about 50% of tax liens that are out there are going to come off people's credit reports as well.
So how are they coming off? What areas are going to see that things are missing where those judgments and tax liens are not going to be on the credit report anymore?
Well, it's going to happen during the week of July 10th.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to remove what's going to happen is the CRAs, and when I say CRAs, I mean Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion, credit reporting agencies. What they're going to do is they're going to remove from their databases previously collected public record data that do not meet the enhanced standards. So there's going to be a lot of this data that's going to be removed. However, we're going to have to see how it goes, but I'm on the phone with our attorneys have been dealing with this all day. The information may perhaps come back on later on if they can meet the enhanced standards with that data. So we're going to have to wait, like anything, we're going to have to wait and see
how it plays out.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
I took the words right out of my mouth. So,
yeah.
We're definitely going to have to see how it goes. But
well, that's why, of course, and that's why credit, having a credit expert, if you have any challenges going on in your credit, or maybe not even, challenges, but just you don't have the credit score that you need for a particular loan that you're trying to get, really having an expert look at that, because there's so many areas that because of the rights for the consumer, if they're not getting reported the way they're supposed to, then there's ways to get those eliminated and deleted off your credit report. So going into that, let's talk about, what percentage of consumers do you see that actually have errors on their credit report, Scott?
Wow, there's been, if you actually go to YouTube and you Google congressional hearings, they've done in Congress, there's so many that are out there. It's hard to put an exact number on it, but there's so many inaccuracies that are out there. And when you're dealing with so much data, it's kind of hard to not have any errors. I mean, I've seen everything under the sun when it comes to the credit bureaus. Especially with our attorneys. I was just on the phone with one of our attorneys, and he was on the phone with Experian's attorneys. Believe it or not, Experian is not even a U.S. company. Their headquarters are based out of Dublin, Ireland. They service 65 million people, or actually 65 different countries, and they're not even a U.S. company. So there's so many things that go into it, and they got built up by buying data companies and all sorts and it really what it comes down to is just being aware of your credit report and knowing what's on it. A lot of people don't pull their credit report. They don't know what's on it.
Sure.
And it's very important to do that because it's going to affect you. It's going to basically decide your entire financial future. So you want to make sure that you're aware of what's on it.
Makes sense. So can consumers dispute items that are on their credit report on their own, or what's the best?
Absolutely. It's 100% a consumer's right to dispute items on their own. Unfortunately, it's not as easy as just going and just speaking very plainly and just saying, hi, this is not accurate. Can you please fix it?
Sure.
It's a cat and mouse game with the credit bureaus. They outsource overseas. You're lucky if you can get someone on the phone that speaks English half the time. And they purposely try to not do their job because to them, the dispute, well, actually, they've monetized the dispute process to where they can actually make money off of it now. But to them, it's a nuisance. They don't want to do they just want to sell everything, make a ton of money. And if there's errors here and there, they don't care. So we hold them accountable.
Knowing and understanding what the rights are for the consumer. I always say the credit consumer or the credit agencies are not in the business for customer service. They don't have to be. So that adds a whole layer of inconvenience if you really don't know how to set a
It can be very frustrating. I've had people that have sued and made millions off the bureaus. We actually sue all the time and get damages for our clients. I mean, we don't want it to come to that, but we're not just going to allow them to blatantly break the law and not be held accountable. I mean, that's just not acceptable.
So, Scott, what about proactive steps that consumers can take to improve their existing credit?
Great question. Number one thing you can do, the most actionable method, is pay down your balances. That's something you can do right away, and you have complete control of. There's a magic number. It's 30%. Anytime, there's what's called a utilization ratio, which obviously you're aware of. Anytime your balances on your credit cards overall, with all of them combined, goes above 30%, that's going to harm your credit score. If it's below 30%, that's going to help you. So that's that number, 30%. If you have high balances on your credit cards, it's going to harm you. You want to keep your balances low. So that's the first thing you can do. And it depends if you're in a position where you'll get approved for unsecured cards or if you have to go the route of getting secured credit cards or other options to put positive items in your report. But the most actionable method by far, pay down your balances and always pay on time.
Of course.
Those two make up 65% of the pie chart.
So you hear a difference between, a lot of times people think that it's, they don't know if it's all together, the revolving credit cards all added up together, 30% of that or 30% of the individual cards on their own?
It's overall, yes. If it's on one card above 30%, but on another you have zero balances on a bunch. Like, for example, let's say that...
So switching from one card to another is not going to help because they're totaling all the revolving debt. And
exactly. So if you have 5 credit cards at $2,000 limits each, your total is $10,000 limits.
Yes.
And if your total combined balances is $5,000, your utilization ratio is 50% because that's half. So it's all of them combined.
Yep. So if you don't have the resources to pay them down, seeing if you can increase those limits to where you can get over that threshold makes total sense.
Because the opposite is true. If you pay down the balances, that's one way. But if you increase your credit limits, then the opposite is true. So your utilization percentage drops down. So if you had that $10,000, just the example that I gave, if you add another $5,000, you have $15,000 limits and $5,000 balances. Now you're down to 33%.
Yes.
So you can edit it's the opposite is true. So it's a percentage.
Yep. Okay. So let's talk about Fair Debt Collection Practice Act. What is it and how does it protect the consumer?
Back in 2010, the FACTA Act was amended via Section 623, which allows the consumer to dispute directly with the collection company. So what that means is, in layman's terms, is we can go and we can demand the original accounts. The federal law you just stated, the Fair Debt Collection Practice Act, it mandates collection companies and how they have to conduct themselves. And we can go after them and demand the original account signature, payment history, and a plethora of other items. And unfortunately, Tina, what happens a lot of times, as we all know, the collection companies, I mean, I've seen them abuse federal law left and right every day on their practices, but they just buy the debt in bulk, and they don't care if they have the right paperwork or not. They don't even have the paperwork. They just take the word of whoever they buy it from and throw it on your credit report. But they don't have anything to even know if that is even a valid amount, the account history. They don't care. They just buy it in bulk and just throw it in your report and just go from there and say, hey, anybody that challenges on it, maybe we'll delete it, maybe we won't. But Depends on the collection company, but that's what they do, and it's against federal law, and they get away with it every day, and we hold them accountable.
Yep, and that's how you get those items deleted. I've got just less than a minute here, but I want to ask you, inquiries, are there, because they have to provide documentation on inquiries as well, otherwise those inquiries can come off your credit, which can affect your credit score with too many of those. Is that correct?
Oh, absolutely, and the worst thing is, and this is a good tip to everyone listening, when you go to a car dealership, do not allow them to go in the back and run your credit with 50 different banks and just run rampant with your credit, because I see that all the time. Make sure that you explain to them that you want to know exactly who they are running your credit through and exactly what bank they're running your credit through, and say, do not go back behind the curtain and run my credit all over the place. I want you to put exactly who you're running it through, which bank, because otherwise it can harm your credit, and I'll have to go and fix the disastrous situation of all those inquiries on them. So that's a good tip for everyone as well.
Well, perfect. Thank you. Well, thanks for keeping my listeners updated on the new changes that are coming up here, and hopefully that'll help a lot of people with those judgments and tax liens, and maybe they can get those removed. And, thanks for the assistance that you are for my clients that are in need of credit repair.
Yes, and if they need anything, give this show a call, and we'll be more than happy to provide them assistance with anything.
Wonderful, Scott. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Tina.
You're welcome. And that is the show. This is your host and mortgage expert, Tina Mitchell, signing off for the day. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and enjoy the beautiful weather here in the Northwest. And I look forward to talking with you money next Saturday, same time, same place, right here on 1150 AM at KKNW.
Tina Mitchell, MLO 145420, is a licensed loan originator with Gateway Mortgage Group, LLC. The views expressed by the speakers on the preceding program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views of Gateway Mortgage Group, LLC, nor are they necessarily endorsed by Gateway Mortgage Group, LLC.